Pickaxe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome behind the scenes to our Nocturne. I don't even want to say mid-campaign recap because I feel like we have a good chunk of episodes left. At least episode 1-10 recap. I guess we'll just go through with intros first and then jump right in. My name is Ryan McManus, and I have been your director, and hopefully I'll continue to be. You can find me running the Cast Party socials at Cast Party D&D, or my personals at Ryan.McManus. And I am joined today by my lovely casting crew. We have Vince.
Hi, I'm Vince. I'm playing Theren. I'm also going to be the new director of Nocturne.
That's
Ryan has not just now discovering that he is in fact out of the campaign, so I will be the new director.
It's
Welcome.
the way that was your most normal intro until you got to that part.
I was like, wow, Vince really is doing well with this intro.
Yeah, he's being serious.
When I become director, things are going to change around here.
Oh, God, okay. And we have Christian.
What's up? Hi, I'm Christian. I've been playing Tannis, and what they don't know is that I'll be the new director. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my God.
I've been playing Tannis. Tannis is a chain. You heard the episodes. But you can find me on my socials at Captain Carlson, all that kind of good stuff. Maybe. If you feel like it.
And while you're there, you can search up May.
What?
Yeah, that is something you could do. I'm May, and I'm playing Zielle. I don't want to be the director at all. You guys can fight over it. I would like to just play my silly little character and just that one character. Thank you.
So, I don't know where we want to start. I also have a ton of questions from our wonderful patrons over in the Discord.
From the beginning?
Start from the very beginning.
I have one question right off the bat about the beginning.
Yeah.
Was everybody happy with how their characters were introduced? And
that's a good
did
one.
it go the way that you wanted it to go?
Great question.
To add some clarity to this, I didn't really tell you guys what your intros were going to be. I told you guys the order, I think. And that was it.
I think you gave us a hint. Like, I think I remember you telling me that everybody was going to be downstairs. I was going to be the only one upstairs. And I think that was it.
Yes. And you were all preparing for dinner.
Yeah. We were preparing for dinner, and that I was the only one that didn't have any sort of connection with anybody else or had possibly known of them beforehand, basically. That's all that I knew ahead of time. I don't know about you guys.
I remember I told you you need some sort of connection with Osria, and then you had been traveling previously, so having that, hey, I'm going to stop at an inn and just kind of work for some extra coin was like the perfect connection that we needed to tie you guys all in together.
Right.
I mean, I think my introduction with Tannis went perfectly, honestly, as far as the setting goes. I went and wrote a little monologue as far as like traits that I wanted to make sure that I hit on before we started. And when we actually started recording, I panicked, and I think I missed probably like 3 of those things. But I think it worked out for the best. I was stoked with the way that Tannis got introduced. I felt like it was a really fun moment that really set up his personality going forward into the campaign. And I feel like the dice worked with me, which was a plus because they have not worked with me since for the most part. But yeah, no, I loved my introduction. I thought it went really well. I was really happy with the way that Tannis got introduced.
I do feel bad about May's intro, only a little bit.
Talk about it, May. Dive into it, May.
That introduction was perfect for Zielle. It was terrifying for me. Because I love to play characters that embody something that I wish I could embody, and for whatever reason, it's typically easier to do that when you're role-playing a character against other imaginary characters, right? But obviously, that was my very first scene with her, and it went fine. I just felt bad, but it was literally like Ryan exactly made it felt very much like Ryan's like, oh, okay, I get what you want out of this character, and then made an intro, and that was perfect. I just was like, oh God.
Yeah. I thought it went really well. I loved yours, and now we have Rent, which was not a name that I had prepared. I had so much prepared for this episode.
How did you not give him a name?
Dude, I don't know. I had everything, this was the most prepared, and probably, I guess you could say, to a script episode, because you have to start off a campaign you have to get the wheels rolling, you know?
Totally.
So I had everything written out and prepared for this. And in the moment, you were like, what's your name? I was like, I don't have a name for this little guy that I specifically wrote into the intro.
The panic that sets in
I
his
think
sweat point.
it fit
Just Rent walks up.
it suits him. I think it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it works so good, honestly, for it to come up with that on
I
the
like
spot.
that he got a name just to get like slam dunked with it. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name?
I know.
Rent?
No,
I
hold on.
hate you.
It actually worked too good, Ryan. I need you to come up with a more offensive name next time, please. Thank you.
I'll do my best. I'll try.
Well, who likes paying rent, honestly?
Exactly.
Well, what about you, Vince? How did you feel about throwing a child out a window for?
Yeah, for real. Right out the
That
gate.
is true.
He said, "Get out of here."
Dude, you don't know how happy I was with that. Oh my god, I'm gonna throw all the kids out the window.
What do you mean by that?
I did like it. I thought it was funny, and I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect in the beginning, and then for him to throw that, it gave a good way for me to show how much of an ass he can be immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But then also have a little bit of the God, what do you want to call it?
Compassion?
Like, yeah, I guess compassion.
Yeah.
That's like a little bit of empathy there.
Yes, empathy. He's got that side of empathy and compassion to him.
Yeah.
Because you dropped him out the window, but then you're like, don't come this way. Go around to the front. She'll feed you. Just say I sent you. Like, you could tell these kids were, and they were like basically almost homeless kids that were just wandering around and stealing so they could get food. They took nothing from your pouch except for the food that you had brought from downstairs, upstairs to your room.
I am still mad that they didn't go to the front door and try to get more food.
Mm-hmm. Now they got too spooked and decided to book it off.
We gotta bail. Get out of here.
But yeah, then our boy Aragal came and dropped off our letter to you guys at the dinner table, beckoning you all to Barovia. Before we leave the Enchanted Hearth, I do have a listener question from Svitter over on our Discord. What is Gar's sending stone number? No reason. And I fully agree. I love Gar.
Gar's the homie.
I like the idea that the sending stones just have like one number. It's just like 7 or something, you know?
Oh, I was about to say 7 too.
What?
Aww.
Are you kidding me? T-Bros strike again. So that's your official answer, Spitter. It's 7. 7 is his sending stone number.
7.
Yeah.
From there, we moved on to the road where the newbie, Theren, to the party was absolutely grilled by Zielle.
Yeah.
Just nonstop questions,
That was fun.
which
for me.
I loved to death.
I wasn't sure how to portray it without seeming like I didn't want to role play or anything of like
No, it's perfect.
he didn't want to really give any information because he doesn't know who the hell these people are and he doesn't care. He just wants to go through with what he needs to do and do whatever he's got to do it.
I mean, that's honestly better because the only thing I was like, oh, this is a funny bit and I think it'll be fine with Vince. But if you had actually wanted to answer all those questions, I would have felt a little bad that these were like very specific questions and you would have to come up with like answers for all of them right on the spot. So it probably worked out better.
So funny.
Your conversation was quickly interrupted, though, as you got swallowed by some mist. You guys couldn't see, you couldn't feel the earth beneath your feet, as you all began to panic and were brought from the wonderful, shining morning of Avrosa to the dark, gloomy, cloudy, misty-filled valley of Barovia. And that's where we got Tannis' little scar.
So
I didn't expect PvP probably at all in this campaign, which I then quickly changed.
We hard pivoted on that roll. We hard pivoted on
And
that.
definitely not in episode 2, but I feel like it was thematic and made a lot of sense.
And it gave us a good introduction to one of your homebrew rules of the
Yeah, I
love that
like
too,
the
yeah.
what are you calling them, the eternal or
Oh god,
shit.
hold on, I had my notes up. Oh, lingering injuries.
Lingering.
It's a cool table that I found. I have tweaked some of them just to, so they're not super harsh. Like some are, you're supposed to technically roll anytime you get hit with something that is in a single blow, half your health or more, or you go unconscious. But some of them are like ridiculous. So I'm just kind of doing them. If I roll and I like the outcome, cool. If not, I'm scrapping it and doing something that fits in the moment, just like Tannis's scar. Because some you roll and it's like, you went unconscious, you have to amputate your leg now. Sorry. And that doesn't make sense when you just get scratched across the face.
Kind of love the idea though that we come back from this journey with like peg legs and like hook hands and like eye patches.
It could happen.
Don't be afraid to take our legs or arms, man.
Right.
Do it. Hey, it could happen. I already took a kid's arm.
Right.
Oh, we did.
Then from there, you guys finally decided to make your way to the first civilization that you found, which appeared to be abandoned, which was the village of Barovia.
Oh, yeah.
Not a big city, maybe a dozen or two houses, including shops and inn, and the Burgomaster Mansion, along with another house that you were oh so kindly brought to by two smiling, but very sad children, actually.
Two smiling
Rose
children.
and Thorn Durst, who begged you all to go inside and save their brother, their baby brother, from the monster in the basement. And you guys waltzed right in.
I feel like we kind of succeeded in saving their baby brother in a very, 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 very broad sense of the term.
I would say so. You guys released a bunch of the sacrificed souls.
It's mission successful, I think. Zero hiccups along the way.
Yeah, we had quite a couple moments in the house which were really fun. We had
Wolf. I'm still
the
mad about
wolf.
that.
Tannis is in the hunting trophy room. Tannis found out that his arm is not as stable as he thinks and works off of his emotions, where it started to whir and heat up. And luckily you passed the con save, because if you couldn't get your shit in check, it would have burned you.
Interesting.
Speaking of the house, what did we miss? Like a lot?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
No, you almost did. But luckily, you guys skipped a couple encounters on the way up to BH. You guys didn't go in. There was a closet that had a freaking broom, the animated broomstick or whatever that was going to lunge at you.
Oh, we could have rode it?
No, it would have just bonked you.
Oh.
I guess you could have. That's kind of a grapple, right?
Yeah, we could have persuaded the broom, right? Persuasion check.
You didn't miss too much else. There was, just for time's sake, because we only record for 2 hours, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time in the basement. There was some rooms that were cut that just didn't really make any sense. There was like one room set aside that had like 2 bedrolls that was supposed to be like, oh, if a cultist needed to stay here, they could stay in the quarters. A couple bedrolls here and there. There wasn't really any treasure, and if there was, I made it up to you guys. The reliquary, I hate that they put the reliquary in there because it's made to right before the ritual room with all the different things. It's supposed to be nothing, but I think it's supposed to throw you guys into like thinking it's some sort of puzzle, because I remember Zielle was moving all the stuff around. Someone was looking for wolf stuff.
That sounds like me. Yeah, that sounds like me.
So it's just there, and I was like, I feel bad putting this in there, but I don't want them to waste a lot of time on it, but it's just so bizarre.
God, I'm glad we didn't stay longer.
I know. But then you guys fought Walter with body parts and sinew and blood from all of the sacrifices that laid ridden in the pool below, basically conjoining and congealing themselves into one giant flesh mound that almost swallowed Zielle completely.
It did, didn't it? And
Yeah.
just like slowly
I was gonna
digested
say-
Zielle for like 5 turns.
You guys fought Walter?
Yeah, Zielle got eaten immediately.
Yeah, Z like barely got to fight much in the first few episodes.
The only hits I've gotten have been on Tannis's brother. That I demolished
God.
him when I killed him in like a blow, but
Yeah.
It's funny because she didn't get around in the robe fight, which was animated armor, but I made it an animated spellcaster, which I guess I can spoil this because we sadly don't have Azria to continue down the road with to reveal the story. The animated robe belonged to a lover that she killed.
Oh.
It was a green dragonborn, hence the green scales that would show up throughout the robe. He was a magic user who she would go out on missions with. Osria's rage got the best of her and cleaved through an enemy and into him. So that's why there was that tattered hole in the side. That was the remaining wound that was left. So that's why it was so appealing to Sin's character.
I'm still proud. I think that robe is my only confirmed kill up to this point in the campaign, but I was really excited about that. That looked really cool there for a minute.
Yeah. That was our first experience with combat. I don't know if everyone, I mean, at least at the time of recording this, we are recording this the day that episode 5 comes out. People are still trying to figure out everyone's classes. So
really,
it's very, very fun to see.
I think that's one thing too. I think with Tannis, it's like, I wish it had been a little bit more difficult to guess Tannis's class, you know?
True. But I think we flavored it enough to where people still aren't fully spot on.
For sure.
But it's been very cool.
Who hasn't been guessed yet?
I think at this point, people are still curious if Zielle is a paladin or a cleric, because we haven't seen we didn't see a smite because she didn't get around in the first combat and she got swallowed in the second combat. So we didn't see much more than message.
Very cleric core of me, isn't it?
Yes.
True.
All I've done is heal and get hurt.
Yeah.
We did see the Eldritch Blast, but I don't think anyone knows your subclass quite yet. And we did get to see Christian's Blood Maledict, which
Yeah,
I think people know already what Christian might be based on a fight that happened previously, but
I figured with mine especially, I was like, there's a definitive point at which it's no longer a question what my class is. Like eventually in this campaign, it's like, oh, he's this class. Great.
yeah, then you guys left the house. You met Meemaw, who gave you guys a pie. Who would have eaten the pie if Osria didn't crush it?
I think obviously Tannis.
Tannis got another pie, so at least we have a redemption pie.
No thanks.
I'm excited about that.
I don't know if I'd call that moment redemption.
That is redemption
I
pie.
don't think that was that.
That was redemption. Zielle, you can stay outside the windmill because it's mine. I earned it. Maybe the best thing I found in the house after you guys made fun of me for searching for treasure.
I know.
I want it to be known too that Tannis is every time Tannis gets made fun of the most, he finds treasure, and I just want that to be
It's true.
a moment of inspiration.
It's almost karma.
For the listeners. If people are clowning on you, just know you're probably moments away from finding your treasure.
Before we leave the house, though, I have to bring up one last thing,
No, you don't.
because Zielle got a cloak and found a wedding portrait. Had a little nice vision of the colors of the painting coming together and pooling before dispersing and creating a brand new painting.
Yeah, I really thought I was gonna get out of that house without being
I did too.
targeted. What would if we hadn't split up and gone down there? Would anything have happened, or we just would have no more information on Sia?
No, I was gonna save a moment for you to happen later. Whether I put that in like the Burgomaster mansion when you guys were staying there, or what. You might have experienced it alone in your room that you stayed in at the mansion. But instead, yeah, you decided to split up and explore the rest of the basement, which you guys didn't do, which I was shocked about.
I got freaked out.
I thought you were gonna do that before the ritual room, and you beelined it straight to the ritual room, which worked for podcast time's sake.
We had to save a child. We were on a time limit.
Tannis couldn't explore anything. Being the only character without dark vision has been an interesting
Oh,
journey.
yeah, that was rough.
Just want to say that's been an interesting sacrifice that I made for narrative purposes, and I hope you guys are happy.
But yeah, then we made it outside, and I would love to hear our Theren and Zielle discussion about the church. You guys came out of that with two very, very different opinions and feelings, and I loved the church scene so much, so much.
Yeah, that was the most I feel like that was the most emotional moment so far. I mean, there was from A to Z and the dancing and stuff, but that was all a lot lighter. This was more two characters, very different beliefs.
In that point in the campaign, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not the most likely duo, I feel. I was very excited to see the two battling thought processes while talking to Doru about Father Donovich, everything.
If Theren had his way, things would have gone a lot different in
I
that
know it.
scenario.
I think we can say that about most of this campaign, Vince.
I think if Zielle was with like Tannis, it would have gone so badly. Theren is like someone she actually could get her way with.
I will tell you, if you guys went down there at all, Doru would have attacked. If you had given him part of your blood, he would have attacked.
I thought about that. I really considered that.
He was going. He can hold himself back, but even in the book it says only for a round. This is the first sign of flesh that he's seen in who knows how long. If you guys went down, he would have tried. He would have begged you to leave.
Aww.
And if that didn't work, it's go time.
Would the two of us have been able to take him?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No!
I would have.
I can tell you, if it was the four of you,
Listen
100%.
to me! Listen, I got us leveled up at the dancing. I saved us from a vampire. I'm just saying.
Oh no!
Here's what I would have loved
no.
is the jumping back and forth between you two being murdered in a basement and me and Azria getting drunk in the tavern. Like, you know what we ought to do? Cuts back. It's just Theren being cut in half. You know.
No, I think our talk was better for character development than death.
It was. It really was. I can give a little spoilers, which I'm very glad that you guys avoided this fate. Vince has run part of this campaign in a home game that we did. He only made it up to the village of Barovia. When they left the gates, that's where the home game just kind of died out. We moved to a different module. So he knew a little bit of the starting area. So props to Vince right off the bat for not metagaming anything about this campaign so far, which has been awesome. But
Thanks.
they did kill Doru. They slaughtered Doru. How it's supposed to be played is after you can either like bury Doru or you can leave. The second you leave the church, you hear one single church bell ring. And if you remember, Father Donovich had the long rope by the bell right by his altar that rings the church bell to gather the folks from the village up to service. He hangs himself from that rope, knowing that Doru is gone, and that was his only driving force to continue going. And his faith is instantly broken, knowing that he's been praying for so long, and the only thing that was sent to him is people who killed his son that he is trying to revert.
We saved that man's life. We saved
You
2
did.
lives, Theren.
100%.
2.
There's no
And that was
life
the whole
in the
point.
one.
There is.
There was only one life to be saved.
Well, we saved that
Technically.
one too. And we saved 2 more lives. We saved our lives.
That is true.
I mean, there could have been things done.
Vince is praying for a Deus Ex Machina so that he can murder this vampire in the basement.
Like, I could have just, quote unquote, accidentally sent the whole place on fire, and maybe or maybe not the dad is in there too. I don't know. I'm
And
not
maybe
a doctor.
or maybe not, we're in there.
You guys were what, level 3 at this point? Doru was a CR5. He had 82 hit points.
Oh no.
Easy.
He could bite you. He does have regeneration. He does a multi-attack, so he can do 2 attacks, one of which can be his bite. His bite is 1d6 plus 3, and then an additional 2d6 necrotic damage.
Oh,
So-
not necrotic.
So I think he could have killed you in one turn.
It would have been hard only if he could have hit Zielle, because Zielle did have the cloak, so she'd have the AC 20 at that point. But
Yeah, but also at that point I had hit not a single thing in the campaign.
that is
so.
true.
And my dice were cursed and everything was bad. They're still cursed, but I've
They
gotten
are.
it in at least. Could he have turned me into a vampire?
I don't know if vampire spawn can technically do so.
Oh yeah, that's what I was wondering, if he was like spawn or thin blood or whatever. I don't know.
So you're saying if I set that place on fire, he would have been gone.
He probably would have just gotten out.
He's in the basement. Everything would collapse in on him.
But the
That
door
is true.
might.
I guess it depends because that place definitely would have gone up in flames. I probably would have had to just roll and see how it played out. Like, depends where
Why
you
are
lit the
doing
fire.
This, Vince? Why are you doing that?
End his eternal suffering.
Just accept that you did a good thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, here's my question, Vince. How do we possibly present this as us being in any way heroic when your plans are consistently, let's set the building on fire and lock them in? Like, let's lock this praying man inside this house with his son and set it on fire. I'm the good guy. In what world?
This man
Nope.
is letting his son suffer for all eternity.
You hear the villain monologue you're spinning right now?
What kind of dad is that to say God's going to take care of him when he's sitting there suffering all day, every day for the rest of his life and all of eternity?
He didn't want to die.
Yeah, he didn't want to die.
He did willingly go into the basement.
See, listen, here's the thing, is that Theren / Vince is just so calmly such an agent of chaos, but you don't like think of him that way because he's so like mellow about it and just like so serious. But then the decisions that you make are like so chaotic.
I was gonna say, I think roleplay wise, you would think Tannis seems more chaotic because he talks a big game.
Outwardly.
And then the choices are always there. Like, even, and this is a couple episodes later, but even like, putting boots up on the table was like, oh, okay, that's kind of, takes the chair. And because he did it so calmly, nobody noticed. Everybody's like, oh, that's fine.
I didn't even understand. I was like, what?
The chair. And there was like, Tannis, you disgusting little man. Theren's got his sword in the host's chair. Like, yeah, I can't believe Tannis did that.
Oh my God. No, I was mad at both of you, to be clear.
To make our way further to the brunch episode, because God, I want to talk about that. You buried the burgomaster. Eastmark became the burgomaster because his father was dead. You saw Strahd at the funeral, grieving with his quote unquote lover. And then you guys left. You guys headed out on the road where had your heart to hearts. You made a blood pact. And God, this lined up so poorly because even Tannis didn't know this is how I was going to end the episode. But we had the gallows incident with Tannis. I apologize. What's your... Oh, I guess we haven't learned that yet.
I don't think... Yeah, I
we
think
won't
it is
talk
still.
about your brother's name.
Wait, have I? That's a good question.
I don't
remember if I
don't know
brought
if
it
you
up.
brought up the name.
Did it come up during dinner or brunch or whatever?
Oh, you might have brought it up in your campfire story.
I'm gonna say it. I mean, maybe, yeah. It's Brighton. His name is Brighton, so I think it's fair to say it out loud because I think I've said it before. But to be fair, Tannis talks a lot, so there's a lot of moments where he reveals stuff that kind of gets lost in the noise because he just doesn't stop.
The whole time I knew that's how I wanted to end the episode, was getting to the gallows. And of course, the RP leading up to that was so good and so wholesome that I almost decided against it. But I was like, it's so perfect because you guys just promised to have each other's backs. You made a blood pact. You're like, we're in this for the long run. We're going to keep each other safe. And I'm going to throw a wrench in that.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise. That was so funny too. And because you brought up the gallows I think it worked out really well additionally, because I don't think anybody else at the time in our player group was really that interested in the gallows. But for some reason I was like, oh, that's really weird. I want to what is that doing over there? And then you were like, yeah, are you checking that out? And I was like, a little bit.
Little behind the scenes prep for the campaign. Christian decided on Order of the Lycan Bloodhunter. And he gave me full control of his first transformation. He said, you do it whenever. I will not do it until you do it. Have at it. After the reveal, we sat down together and we made his werewolf stat block because it was going to be more of a rage and emotion induced werewolf compared to the normal Order of the Lycan stat block that they get. So we gave him some fun actions and upped his HP. Yeah, it was a cool little fight.
I was stoked about that fight. I think going up into it, making the stat block and having the moment of especially the transition when we did the intro poem and then you sort of handed me the reins.
Oh yeah,
to run that fight. That was such a fun. That was such a fun moment.
Were you expecting it at all, May? Him just handing over the reins like that? That was the last thing I thought he would do. I've never seen that before myself.
No, and then my girl Irina got robbed.
Yo, I thought it would be fun because it's I don't like playing with DM NPCs DMPCs or whatever. And Irina's pretty frail. But I was like, this is perfect. He's kind of the big bad at the moment. I have Irina. Let's just flip-flop. I'll let you run the show and run the combat. I'll basically be part of the party as Irina.
The funniest part, the funniest part was we have a player chat for messaging during game that Ryan doesn't interrupt.
Oh yeah.
And right at the beginning of the session, he's like, "Hey guys, I can be in here today," and
I'm
then
in here
immediately got feared for the rest of the combat.
I love it. Like there were so many because you can check it at the end of each of your turns, and every time it was like a worse roll. And so it's just like, okay, I sink further into the underbrush. So brutal. Oh man. Well, yeah, I think that I wish I'd been able to show off that stat block a little bit more. There's some cool stuff in there, but I had a really, really fun time with that fight. And then running the fight, I didn't know, and I don't know if you guys know this, that I didn't know my brother was going to be a part of that fight. Ryan had just mentioned, he was like, there's another surprise element to this thing. And I was like, oh, okay. In my mind, because I'm a fool, I thought it was going to be like more wolves or something, that would come to aid me. And then my ghostly brother hopped down, and I was like, just RP wise, such a good moment, that whole fight.
Had to come and protect his brother.
Or try
At least.
Gave it his best.
He got one good shove off on you there, May, but
whatever.
Christian, too bad you'll never be able to use that stat block again, seeing as you'll never transform again.
Well,
all right.
Right.
I would hang on to it just in case.
we did have
Right.
that one was a special. That was a special stat block. That's not my normal moveset. It's like
Who knows?
you know it's like when you're playing like a Lego game and you fight like the villain and they're infinitely powerful, and then they join the squad and they can do like 3 things, and you're like, oh man, they were way cooler when they were the villain. That's what it's gonna be like.
Yeah.
No, hang on to that stat block. I mean, it could be like a magic item upgrade. Like, oh hey, you now have access to your howl.
Duly noted.
But then we went to the camp, and you guys told a bunch of your backstories to each other. I was almost going to say to strangers, but you had a private conversation for that, luckily. You guys spilled a lot. We heard about Tannis's brother situation. We got May and her fiance, as well as our boy Theren with his whole family. Just some nice little campfire tales.
That was a question, Theren. Vince, did you expect Theren's backstory to come out in that episode?
Yes and no. Because we had the episode previous, we had said that I had stated that I was going to let you guys know more. And I think it just kind of, the way things went with how everybody giving the details that they did, it just kind of had to. Because I feel like there was no way to not give that much out in that scenario.
Yeah, Tannis kind of had all his cards on the table.
Yeah.
To make him feel better, you guys spilled the beans all over his cards.
Yeah, with how the last the episode had gone as well, to keep with that theme of like, hey, we're in it together now.
Since I want you to know something.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Yes. Say
No,
it.
it's so irrelevant.
Say
The man who took your sister, I truly just picture him as the Babadook.
No, honestly, that was kind of my inspiration. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of my inspiration.
Gay icon.
And I don't know if I portrayed it enough to his sword. I can't remember how much I said about his sword too, but my inspiration for that is Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII.
I knew that as soon
yeah.
as we started the campaign. That going back to the way we introduced our characters, the way you described your sword, I knew immediately that it was a Final Fantasy style sword.
That one is actually more Dark Souls.
Is it really?
I got inspiration from.
A big old iron greatsword. It's literally just
massive and ugly. Then?
Guts-esque. Yeah, it's a slab on the end of a
because
handle.
Dark Souls blades are so ugly looking for the most part. They're just giant,
Hey! Take that back.
Yeah.
That I took a lot of inspiration for Theren from Dark Souls, actually. Just the way that he kind of looks and the effects that happen with him. I took inspiration from Artorias.
Oh, I love him. Hate him.
True.
So kind of how the even with the look of the mist and everything, it's kind of, think of it as the same way as Artorias when he is going through his, oh god, shit, what is it? Not Dark Abyss.
I know what you're talking about. I suffered there for a while.
Yeah, like when you get towards later in the fight with him too.
I found out what a Shodal was from Dark Souls. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I had probably seen them, but not differentiated it between like a sickle or something. And I actually like researched it for this game and was also looking at Dark Souls weapons.
My weapon was 100% influenced by Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a moment, and I almost don't want to say this, but I kind of feel like I should. I feel like people need to know to look out for it, because I've been waiting for a moment to say, get over here, since the campaign started with the chain out. Like, I want to throw it at somebody and just say, get over here, but I haven't had the opportunity. So eventually, Ryan, you got to set me up for that. You got to set me up for my dunk.
I got you. But after backstory stuff, we moved to the cards. You guys got a whole reading, a 5-card little spread.
That was so
for the pieces to the puzzle that might lead to killing Strahd and ridding Barovia of this curse. And then after that, you guys got personal reads, and that got spooky, didn't it, May?
fun.
Excuse you?
Yeah, just for me.
Good.
Yeah, I was trying to put off telling Zielle's story because I don't know why. I just felt like she wouldn't want to tell it, but after that point, there was no avoiding it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know how to lie about this.
I specifically asked because I was like, I wonder, this event might trigger the backstory. I specifically asked if you guys wanted your readings in private or if you would rather have them all together.
You did.
So,
Me, I've got nothing to hide.
yep.
So boldly said for someone with so much to
I don't know
hide.
if you know this about Zielle. Zielle's a little delusional. I don't know if you knew this.
It's all right.
What? Zielle delusional? Would never have
I like
picked
to
up
call
on
it
that.
optimistic.
We call that Delulu is the Salulu. Do you understand me?
Listen, it's worked so far.
With the card readings, you guys leveled up to level 4. You are all currently level 4. That was the last level up we had. And that night, Theren got more powerful. But in doing so, he lost a part of his sword. Wonder if that relates to anything. Curious.
Curious.
Do you want to read out your... It was brought out in the brunch episode, which we're moving to right now. What did Cade promise you for your pact?
Oh my god. Oh, yeah. Where do we have that?
I think that was in our Discord DMs. I think that's pinned there.
Yeah. So he told me, for the backstory, for those that forget, when brother was dying on lap, Theren heard the voice that said, I can fix him. I can save him. Until you are whole, the choice is yours.
Ominous.
That night you got your pact sealed.
Ooh.
And you are currently getting stronger while your sword is breaking.
Yeah.
Oh! I get it now.
Wait, I don't get it. That's okay, though.
It's okay. I usually just think I get it and then I'm completely wrong, but...
I kind of get it. I kind of don't get it.
I like that
That's the plan.
It is Theron's pack.
That's
He's like,
the plan.
me and Vince both are like, no idea. And May's like, oh yeah, I've got it all figured out. Which is actually, I think,
I
very
see what
fitting
you're
for the
doing there.
in-game RP as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where Zielle is like, here's what we should do. And me and Theren are like, let's not do any of that.
But you both think you have it figured out, absolutely.
Oh,
Or you act like you
we
do.
make decisions as though we have all the information while also being very decisive about the fact that we have none of it.
Guess we're not I'm not the only delusional person.
That's what ties this party together. We're the Delulu crew, I think.
Crew.
Delulu crew.
But from there, we moved to the carriage, which had very similar imagery as well. We brought you to the courtyard of Castle Ravenloft.
Well, dude, with the carriage too, you had me scared for a second that it was...
I know it.
Yeah. I can't remember if I said something in there or not, but I was freaking out.
I
'cause
think it was
wasn't expecting
just
you
your
to do something like
reaction.
that. Yeah.
You also
okay,
DM'd
alright.
me.
No, okay, I did.
You were like, don't fucking tell me. But do you guys have any thoughts on the crow that was watching you outside and also watched you inside? I would like to know as well, this crow has one of Zielle's earrings now. A gold hoop earring.
Trust it with my life.
I think this is a moment where we can highlight again the difference between player and character, because Christian is very invested in this crow and wants to be friends desperately, but Tannis doesn't care at all. So I feel like I've been like keeping up with what happens with the crow while also making Tannis decisively uninterested. My thoughts are that this crow is going to end up being something. I'm not fully convinced that it's not a crow. I think that that's a thing that I thought about for a minute, was that it was somebody pretending to be a crow. I don't know that I still think that, but I do think that the crow is going to come around in some fashion.
What if it's the wizard?
Oh.
Actually, that's a great thought.
Me watching Ryan closely.
Holding the mic out. Yeah, what
No
if it's the
reaction.
Squinting.
I have a decent poker face. Sometimes.
yeah.
There are things
Yeah,
you do
sometimes,
that crack
sometimes.
me. The whole,
Yeah.
that absolutely crack me.
That's my goal at all times.
to make decisions that just ruin Ryan's day?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make Ryan like lean off screen to hide his reaction.
So, do you guys think that the crow might come back as a bigger character later on?
Yeah, it's my friend.
May is thinking it's the wizard. I'm thinking that the crow will remain a crow, but I do think it will be useful as far as some level of information gathering with Strahd, as far as like sort of confirming or denying maybe Strahd's presence. So I'm kind of thinking minor notes, but I wouldn't be shocked if the crow ended up being Strahd.
That's my familiar now.
I do love that you guys are taking note of the crows and using the poem.
A secret ne'er told for 7.
There was 7 crows for a reason. There's 7 crows for a reason outside, and inside it was the same flock.
And 13 earlier for the devil himself when Strahd appeared.
Yes, at the funeral.
Not that I saw that, but I heard.
What I was going to say was, though, the first thought that I had when you said Strahd was playing the organ, I just saw that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean with Davy Jones playing the organ. So I actually really loved that moment. But it also made me, that was the moment I decided I was going to be putting my boots on the table. I was like, anybody who plays the organ before I show up to brunch deserves my boots on their table.
God, you guys got so... and I knew you guys would get sassy and mean during brunch episode, but like, Strahd just invited you. He was trying to have a little meal with you guys. You guys were assholes. You made me be mean.
Screw that guy.
No, yeah, for real. He showed up.
Screw the guy. He's been nothing but an asshole.
He like showed up and was very ominous the first time we ever saw him, and then he called me family without explaining it, and that bothered me for every session we had until this one.
Did you expect any sort of connection like that, Christian? It was on our one-on-one call, which is going to lead me to another question after this, actually, a little listener question. It was on our one-on-one call. You gave me the green light with the werewolf stuff and everything, and then we had a second follow-up call because we wanted to go in more on backstory arcs specifics. Mm-hmm. And I specifically asked you, I was like, how do you feel about me fucking with your past? Not Tannis specifically, but your past. And you said, go for it. I was like, I hope this is okay.
It was amazing. I see, and again, I won't open up too much about the backstory because I don't think a lot of it's been revealed at this point, but there were questions that I have in Tannis's backstory that when that statement was made, I was like, oh, this could fit in a very, very specifically interesting slot. So that's what I thought it might have been. So when it came around to the reveal of what it actually was, I think it was in a really nice way. Such a perfectly surprising reveal.
Yeah.
Because to have like a full, like, I was like, okay, maybe it's this thing. And then it was like something completely unexpected. And then with the wisdom save fail and everything, I think narratively it just played out so beautifully.
Yeah, that was a very fun reveal, which I have been patiently waiting for since the start of this campaign, as well as Vince's patron. We heard about Cade and how Strahd specifically said that you guys are all fated to be with one another and that you guys are more connected and alike than you think, with Cade making the pact with Theren and then realizing, or not, I guess not realizing, but knowing that Zielle has also been visited by Cade. However, no pact was made.
I just did something for him without making a pact, which is scary, but...
And Theren thought that maybe Zielle had some sort of connection and never said anything at all, and was hiding it the whole time.
Yeah.
Nope, she didn't know. I didn't know. It's news to me.
Because so much information about his past is coming out in this moment that he has been searching for his entire life. That was a big one. To start traveling with this person and then out of nowhere find out that she has the same connection with this thing that has been torturing him in his entire life.
And I don't know.
And you're like, nah, I don't know.
I truly don't. I don't know what Ryan is doing to us. I really don't.
That was the most intense episode, I think, for everybody. That was the one where I think we all needed a breather when we finished. Where I, especially me, I was so nervous going into that episode because I knew this was like the lore episode. I didn't want to get any of Strahd's backstory wrong. I had the things that I wanted to reveal, the connections that I wanted to make. I'm like, God, I just hope the conversations go how they should. You guys don't get physical too quickly.
Yeah, right. Strahd shows up, we immediately pull out like weapons and just straight up attack him. That would have been horrific. Impossible with this group, though. I think we're a little bit too invested in the RP.
Are you happy with how it went in the end? With how much you got out and how it came out? Is there more you wanted to come out?
I got out everything that I wanted to get out. I might change up one thing that I did want to say, which was mainly about Irina. And again, making it like less creepy. There's a big thing in the community with Curse of Strahd and running this campaign properly without a lot of very traumatizing triggers. So I'm going to be very picky about what I say during editing. So if it comes out different, please know there's a reason for that. I don't want to portray this campaign in a different light, and I'm trying to rewrite it in a way to make it less stalkery and assaulty. To put it lightly.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. And also just I wanted to enforce Strahd's reasoning a little harder that he fucking loves Irina.
I'm trying so hard to be a good note taker, but there are 2 sessions in a row now that the only note I've written down is Sergey with a question mark and underlined. 2 sessions.
These are my notes from last session.
Sheesh.
Wow.
But some of it's like planning and things I want to say and stuff. Look at the tarot reading. The tarot reading, I drew the tarot cards out and like
oh my
wrote
God.
all of them.
That's
And,
You did it perfectly.
Because it's important in tarot readings, the alignment and stuff and these things. Not that Zielle knows that, but I know that.
We finally got on the road after brunch, and Tannis found his so deserving windmill.
My beautiful windmill.
He loves to talk about his windmill.
I do.
I know.
I do love to talk about my windmill.
I will say that is the one thing that did not go as I thought it would.
How different was it than what you thought it would be?
A complete 180. This was supposed to end. The windmill was supposed to be like gone, but now you have the deed, and you said, keep going. Like, this is my home, but I'll let you run the business out of it. So this story beat is now fully extended, like way down the road. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's going to be fun. That's all I know. And I'm really excited to see what you do with this future stuff and this stupid parade that we're about to be forced to go through.
I'm so excited.
What do you guys expect out of Vallaki? All you know is that this could be safe. It is known as holy ground.
And they don't like Strahd.
They don't like Strahd. You get there, it's a completely walled off city, and now you arrive and there's a parade strolling through the streets.
It's 100% going to be a terrible, terrible time for Theren.
I'm so excited.
I want to say too, I think this is a funny thing, and I think everyone's seen it throughout the entire campaign, that Tannis is wildly wolf themed in so many ways. But
yeah,
when we approached,
the wolf heads.
Yes. And so I remember that my favorite, and I'm air quoting favorite here, moment was when Tannis is like, hey, this is concerning, right? Like, this is definitely a statement. And the entire party was like, dude, it's fine. And I was like, no, because if it's not fine, it's fine for all of you except for me. And you're like, Tannis, buck up, dude. What's the worst that could happen? Your head is mounted outside the city walls and we leave you behind? Like, get over yourself. So it's an interesting moment, I think, because that's obviously Christian as the player's reaction, but Tannis as the character reaction of like having to go into this city that is like, sort of air quotes safe with this very new information of like who he is and no real idea of how to like deal with it, and now feeling like, how much of this is a threat to me and how much of this is just they don't like wolves in general, and what can I do about it? So the parade is a little bit less on Tannis's radar at the moment.
Interesting. I know Zielle's excited for a parade.
Of course she is.
Me and my bestie. We can't wait we deserve to rest. We deserve to celebrate.
Seriously.
Please let it be nice. Please don't be mean. Please don't make it bad.
It's a parade. What do you guys plan on doing after you arrive in Vallaki?
Collecting my rent.
The closest finding the closest dark alley and just standing in it.
We have to go to the parade while that's happening, and then once that's done, we'll probably find a nice tavern and rest and have some drinks and hang out. And then we'll maybe go shopping because it'll help us fight Strahd.
You do have to buy tuxes now as well, and a dress. So.
While we are shopping, we will ask casual questions about Strahd and find things out.
Oh yeah,
about
also
the things
I
that we need to.
I was gonna say I do have to buy a suit in lines with a vow that I made to steal Strahd's girl. I almost forgot about that, Irina.
Yeah,
I did make that vow.
You now have a love vow.
I did.
Theren vowed to wear a suit to me.
He did indeed. We just gotta save a Baron.
Only when you save Baron.
I'm gonna get advance pay. I'm gonna get paid up front. I don't care.
I think this parade and this town might just end any and all sort of sanity that Theren has left in him.
You picked a rough spot to do it, I'll tell you that.
Spicy.
Because I know
DM
Z is gonna.
What? You say it's my fault?
Oh, it's gonna be. Oh, it's gonna be. I know.
Can I tell you this? While I was prepping Vallaki, I'm still working on it, because this is like, you came from the village of Barovia with probably 12 to 15 houses in total, including like the stores and stuff. This is a city. This is a big place that can host parades that go through the streets. And while I was prepping this, I was like, fuck, we have two of the broodiest, edgiest, angriest, saddest individuals in the party.
Yes.
This is going to go horribly.
It will. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you also have me and Irina.
That is true.
I'm not saying that's going to make it go better. That might actually make it go worse.
The pair-offs of like me and Theren stalking the alleyways versus Irina and Zielle shopping and like trying to join in the parade is going to be a wild whiplash back and forth, I feel.
Well, I am super excited to explore Vallaki, to be in a whole new world, new city, undiscovered area for everyone, and a whole bunch of other surprises that are soon to come. So, do we want to do a couple listener questions, and then I will let you guys get back to your night?
Yeah.
The first one I have for you guys is from JJTZ4224. How fleshed out were your characters pre-Curse of Strahd? Did we run a session 0 to establish the tavern and the party dynamic? So I'll let you guys talk about your characters first, and then I can do the last part of that.
I think I touched up a little bit on that in the beginning, where like I didn't know anything about anybody. That was all the information I had on it. So I don't know. I'm going to leave it to you guys now. But I don't know if you had any sort of interaction before.
Yes.
We the only person who didn't have a one-on-one meeting was you, Vince. Just because we were so freaking busy and you had your character pretty much all good to go. Everyone else wanted to sit down and ask all the questions. I mean, Vince knows about Curse of Strahd, so he knows all of the trigger warnings and everything. We did our good old consent forms, so Vince knows what he's getting into. So
I wasn't super worried playing with Ryan for 3.5 years now too. And then knowing a little bit about it, I was like, God, I'm fine.
But you two are brand new, so we sat down quite a few times.
I talked to everyone except for Vince.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that I think that like the amount of conversations that me and May had and continue to have that are character related has been wildly extensive, as far as like forming exactly what the relationships between these characters look like before the game, like how that shapes how they go into the game. And I think I would say almost conversely to like what Vince was saying about just being like, yeah, I sort of just like put this character together and was ready to go, super excited to play. I spent so long like shaping all of these little details for this character just because I was so excited to see what it would look like. So very well fleshed out before we ever touched any of the actual gameplay. I would say for Tannis, there was too much thought put into into all the useless details.
I just really like to establish, like, it's fine, and there are fun things about going to a party without having pre-established relationships, and it's also good to have, like, a balance like we have, where some people know each other, some don't. But, like, for me, I like, one of the first things I think I said in this group, like, once we all got on Discord was, like, who wants to share backstory?
Oh,
because I love to, like, I don't know, I guess it's probably just, like, a me thing as well. I mean, everyone does, but, like, I think it's like helps me establish the character better. Like, obviously your character exists in a world with other people, and like they're gonna have parents and family and friends and whatever, but like it's so much easier but also more fun to like establish that with like the other players. I don't know, it just helped me like be in it before, and then I had like my 50 song long playlist.
Yes.
And we'd like written I know Christian and Sid and I had all written like stories and stuff like that before the thing had started.
Little fanfics.
They're good too, actually. In case you're wondering, they're good.
But but you don't know all of this stuff yet. Like, some of the stuff will never come out. Like, there is some stuff that you will literally never find out from these stories, but then there's other stuff that might be alluded to or you might not, but it just helped like establish the characters and was also just fun to do together.
Yeah, I think it's fun to have those kind of details because it like shapes a viewpoint. I think like whether or not the information itself ever comes out, I think it shapes like the way that our characters kind of view the events that are happening around them.
Speaking of everyone's characters, let's just do some good old complimenting each other. What's your favorite thing about the other PCs? This is from Kate, aka Major Magician 96 over on Discord.
Major Magician.
I'm gonna make you be nice to each other.
Dang it. Shit.
Can it be like the PC / the player?
Sure, yeah. I can go if you guys would like. I can rattle some off. My favorite thing about Vince is him branching out wildly with this new character. It is a very different personality and playstyle compared to Jet from the main campaign. So it's very cool to see
Rocking it too.
Theren be established and just this side of the playstyle, you know? Christian, just the improv that you can come up with off the top of your head is mind-blowing. The Dragon Rider story, just throwing that out there during the campfire, amazing. Just every interaction that I get to RP with you, I don't know where it's going because you're so witty. I just don't know what to expect.
Oh.
And Zielle, I freaking adore Zielle. Just the whole character concept. This is like my kind of character. I love the charismatic freaking lifestyle, and you play it off so well. I want to thank you for letting me practice my DM flirting with Zielle, because I've never had the chance
Best
to
compliment.
do that.
Best compliment.
I've never gotten the chance to like have a party that romance is involved in or even an option.
That was also
so
one of the
funny.
first things I said when I joined this group. That's
Yeah.
the MO. I love romance in D&D. It's so fun. I also just love flirting with my friends.
That came up so
As an
often
option,
in so
so-
many character conversations. I just think that it's just the amount of times it was like, all right, so romance, how do we make it happen? ? Send to Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
I love when Ryan DMs me questions about it. I'm like,
I do. I think Zielle probably gets the most out-of-pocket random questions from me. So I think that's another favorite of mine.
The message he sent me before brunch, the message that he sent me. But also at the same time, I've messaged you. Oh, this is something I forgot to include in the last answer.
Oh, yeah.
I just messaged Ryan one day and I was like, what if Zielle was a murderer? And he's like, I'm listening.
That was my favorite.
How it was born.
That was when we were talking about backstory. We pretty much had ideas for Zielle after our first meeting.
I was like, it's not enough.
We ended that, and I thought you had a direction and a path that you were going on, and the next morning I get, what if I murdered someone though? I like, perfect twist, just run with it, go, I don't
And
care.
Ryan's like,
I'm
okay, what
here.
about
Yeah.
this? And I'm like, yeah. Love that for us. Okay, I'll go. Okay, my favorite thing about Theren / Vince is, I've kind of touched on it earlier, but I feel like coming in, like, just our description that we had of Theren and, like, for a moment, you thought that Theren was gonna be like the straight man, like he's just gonna be like the voice of reason, like the one who's just like, guys, what are we doing? And then just so subtly, and he even did this in the first episode, but I don't think I really realized that this was gonna be a continuing theme, that he would like make these decisions that are so silly, positive. And like because they like, you know, sometimes like the straight man, when you're in a group of goons like that, I think that is so necessary, but sometimes it can kind of just be like two walls against each other, whereas Theren is like kind of the straight man but also still contributes to the chaos, and it's like really fun to like see the decisions that he makes. My favorite thing about Tannis / Christian is that I love fighting with you.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Everyone adores the sass, so please continue.
Which we've talked about a lot, and like Christian and I have messaged each other after sessions and been like, oh my god, I'm sorry, was that too much? And it's not.
I'm sorry
Because
for what I said.
we're both like people pleasers, and we're like, was that okay? But we're both like playing these characters who like don't usually, like, I'm very typically like party mom, and like I know Zielle is like sort of a peacemaker, but she's also a troublemaker, and like it's been really fun to like fight with someone who you know is not like gonna actually be mad at you. So like a good role-playing partner, I guess.
It's been so much fun. I've adored that.
My favorite thing about Ryan.
You don't have to answer that.
Yeah.
Ryan, stop it right now. Cut the
Stop it.
tape.
Halt the recording.
Cut the tape.
I'm gonna cut it out.
No. Well, I'm still gonna say it. You can cut it out. I don't care. As long
it's
as you
okay.
hear it. Ryan is such a collaborative DM and it is so wonderful. And I just like, if you have an idea, he's like never gonna say no. And that is like so fun. It makes it so fun, but he also like coming up with ideas. Like when I messaged you about being a murderer, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to do this, but I don't know how. And then you're like, well, what about this way or this way? Or what about this? And it's like very easy to like bounce ideas off of you because you're so like supportive and creative, and I love it. That's all.
Thank you. I want you guys to be able to, I mean, you have these ideas and I just want to help flesh them out. I want you to play the characters the way that you want to play them. And 9 times out of 10, I'm saying yes to like basically anything you throw at me, and I will find a way to make it work because I want you to have the experience that you want to have for your character that you guys have spent so long building, fleshing out, and playing these characters. I want those experiences.
May, I really like the way that you are portraying your character and how, like, I have not, until the tarot reading and all that, I thought that she was just going to be a goody-goody two-shoe, and like you haven't you've done very good at not giving away any clues or anything, I guess. Your role playing with this specific character has been very good, and I've been loving everything about it. And every time that I get like the little bit more, like a little taste of this or that, it's like,
You just need that little extra.
we're a little bit darker, aren't we? Oh, well,
Spicy.
there's like something. Yeah, there's some spice in here. Okay.
I wasn't like gonna let you guys have all of the angst.
True.
So
Just most.
I appreciate how much you have gotten me excited for your backstory.
Thanks.
Christian, I have been loving the voice first off. And
True.
it almost
Means a
basically
lot.
the same thing, the way that you've been portraying your character. And you have also, like, at first I thought he was just going to be a butthole, and he was just going to be the guy that everybody hated, and no matter what, it was just going to be like butthole. But you have turned it into something that we've really started to care about a lot more, and it's coming out more and more and more. So yes, you get the gross guy that nobody wants to be around in the beginning, to then like, okay, yeah, he's pretty good, but he still can be
still
gross,
kinda
and then
gross.
it's like we see the inner side. So the way that both of you are just progressing these characters is awesome, and I really love it.
I have a note, actually, that this is another behind the scenes thing. The reason I gave Strahd a British accent is because of Tannis. I was going to mirror whatever accent Tannis did for Strahd because they are brothers.
That's so cool.
wow.
Actually, that's a really cool.
There's a
note.
little behind the scenes
I did
note.
not know
Yeah.
that, but that's so cool.
It's
my
Christian's fault we didn't get a Starian Strahd,
Yes, yes.
Okay, guys, I didn't know.
which is an idea that Ryan pitched to us.
I did.
But I do want to say that I've really been enjoying playing with the both of you, and it's been very comfortable right off the bat too. So thanks for letting me have fun with you guys. And Ryan, I have really, like I said before, I'm really enjoying how you have put your own spin on this story too. And it's been like, I haven't expected anything at all. Everything that you've done so far has been so different, and I love it more than when we first tried playing Strahd in the
Yeah.
beginning too.
Same.
You know,
100%.
you've added your nice little twist to it, and it's been great.
Thank you.
You're telling a great story.
Warm fuzzies.
All right. Well, I guess if I've got to say compliments, I will.
Bring it, Tannis.
May, yeah, here we go. May, one of the things that I've loved immensely about both you as a player and your character Zielle is it's always such a lived-in character. I feel like sometimes you get characters that you play with that are sort of like a two-dimensional front. And Zielle has so many like moments where she has viewpoints on everything, and it's so much fun to RP with, because I know whatever I toss at you, Zielle will have something that she's thought about to bounce back on, and that makes it so much fun to explore the world with that character. And it's not like just the viewpoints that you would expect that she has. I think sometimes she has some like really wild viewpoints on things, and it makes it really fun to continue trying to like chip away at her character. Similarly with the fighting, it makes it really fun to play into that sass, because I'm like, I have no idea what's going to be the thing that randomly she decides is upsetting, but it's so much fun to play with.
Dude, I don't know either. She possesses me.
The character speaks through me, if you will. It's very method. But no, I truly, the design aspect of your character, like the viewpoint, the whole thing, I truly love playing alongside Zielle. And then Theren, I think one of the things that I think when we started, I felt like the idea of your character, I was like, okay, I kind of know where this goes, you know, like I can kind of see where the through line of this character is going to be. And then I think kind of in a similar way to the compliment that you were giving us, I feel like the way that you've played Theren has allowed for some really awesome moments of discovery with what like Theren actually cares about, and like what his like point of view is on the world, and like moments of like I think one of the coolest moments was like when, you know, I was like, oh, this character like can't read, this character doesn't know like what these things are. It's like moments of like similarly to Zielle, of like this like lived in three-dimensional character that when I play alongside, I can toss things at you and I'm like, I'm learning things about this character, and it's really, really fun. I think you built a character that just makes it really exciting to explore the world. And then of course, you know, finding out he's horrifying and wanted to burn down a building was only more exciting. Loved that discovery. But no, playing along with you guys has been incredible. I had no idea what to expect when we were going into this because I've never touched Curse of Strahd. I've never played with you guys before. But it's like right out the gate. Similarly, I just was like, oh, okay, great. It's like this. This is going to be super easy and fun. And it has been the entire way. So I appreciate you guys accepting the Tannis, despite the fact that he's the worst most of the time. That's been really awesome of you guys.
Zielle said it, not me.
Yeah. And then Ryan, like one of the things I think I appreciate the most about you as the director of this story has been not only your ability to build a visual world that is so immediately accessible, but also your ability to pivot. I think that you do such an amazing job of like painting a portrait, but not making it like a stagnant image that you can't really explore, because I think all of us have made decisions that really required some on the spot pivoting, and you've gone with it seamlessly, and you have not once backed away from the challenge of having to DM for the three of us. And that says so much about you as a person. I've just truly enjoyed. I mean, honestly, just the descriptors alone. If it was just your descriptions alone, Ryan, I would have enjoyed this campaign so much. And that's only just like the bare minimum of like what you've built into this world, and it's super cool.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I guess I can leave it up to you guys for questions. I have one more that we'll just end on, but I'll save that for what questions do you have for each other? What questions do you have about the story? Do you have any questions for me? What's eating at you?
Are you still wondering about anything with the other characters? Do you have questions about them, like from the beginning, that haven't come out yet?
Yeah, I don't know why Theren doesn't eat still. I guess.
Yep.
I've never asked.
I'm not saying it here, but maybe you'll find out in the campaign.
I have a lot of like, I can't say I have any specific questions, but I have a lot of like vague, like you know, the fog of your character things for both. And I think interestingly, as some questions are answered, more fog is added. Zielle especially, with suddenly being like murdered someone, and I was like, this brings up a lot of very interesting questions. And then with Theren, I think that there was always fog, and some of that fog has been lifted, but so much of that fog still kind of remains around, like just the details of who he is. So to answer your question, yes, but no, I can't give you like a specific question. I'm just sort of like,
okay,
yes, just sort of twiddling my thumbs in the background with narrowed eyes.
What other questions you guys got?
Were there any discoveries about any characters that you like really weren't expecting, or any decisions that any character made that you really didn't expect that they would make?
Ryan should answer that.
Throwing the kids out the window in the very first episode.
Throwing the kids out the window.
You want to talk about pivoting? I had to do a full fucking 180 the first session in an intro that was nearly scripted.
So much for the railroad. Immediately hop tracks.
That was the most shocking character move for me so far. And the landlord, instead of you just letting the ladies cook. That was also like, that shocked me. That's probably the biggest character decision that was like, that was a choice.
I don't even really know where that came from, to be honest. That was
hey, you had the deed, you got to roll with it.
In the moment, yeah. I think there was that level of it. I think one of the most fun parts about role playing these characters is like there's so many little RP moments that lead up to different decisions. Like I think had we not had some of the conversations we had on the way to the windmill, I don't know that I would have been as invested in making my claim as a landlord. But the specific way it went, I was like, oh yeah, this is my windmill and they pay to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, so I'm not gonna lie, when we first went in through the door and we were talking with her, Mima's not there.
Bella.
What was
Bella
her name?
was her name.
Bella
was there.
And then Mima is her mom.
Correct.
So when you were talking to Bella, and I'm sitting there going like, hey, get out, this is ours, you know, and you start talking, I'm like, oh God, what is he gonna do? Try to get her to like pay rent or something? Ha ha ha. And then that's what it turned into. And I'm just like, in the back of my mind, that whole interaction, I'm like, he's really doing it. He's really getting her to pay dues. Like
And apparently you have more money coming when you're in Valaki.
It's
Because
true, I
Mima's
know.
going to come visit and just
Mima's-
hand you a coin purse.
Mima's got to pay rent.
This son of a bitch did it.
That's been the most surprising thing about
God.
Tannis is his slow get-rich-quick scheme that's just been take treasure and earn money on the sidelines. He's got side hustles going. I do think that one decision that surprised me from from both of you guys was the way that you approach the fight with Tannis in wolf form, and then I think a character thing that surprised me was like the way that whole situation went down. I think the way that I am and of course, right, but like in my brain I was like, okay, so this is good. They're gonna immediately try and like take down the scary wolf guy and be very distrusting. But the character decision was very not that. It was super wholesome, and I think it has really. You mentioned Tannis sort of changing from being just like the guy that's gross that everybody hates because he never does what you want him to sort of opening up a little bit more. I think that decision in that fight had a big impact on like the way that like I wanted to play Tannis going forward, because it was such like a decisive moment. So I thought that was really cool. I think that could have gone a bunch of different ways and it would have impacted the way that I played Tannis going forward. And I thought the way that it did go was really cool.
Yeah, reminder that Zielle was supportive and your girlfriend tried to murder you on that.
So true.
True.
I think dear listener,
While you're down, too.
So, dear listener, let's make it clear that Tannis's interest at the moment is in pissing off Strahd because he has no idea how else to make Strahd mad. That's the
Just
goal.
Strahd.
Just Strahd.
That was like I don't know, not the beginning of the party bonding because they went through the whole house together, but like they're all actively being victims of this place or this man or whatever, like with the paintings and the wolf and the robe and everything that they've seen. So and then Irina did try to kill him, and I think it was understood that it was out of like fear for her own safety. Like it was a peculiar situation, but at the same time it was like, oh, we can't die here, like none of us, like we have to stick together.
Just stab me straight into the ground. Vicious. I was not expecting, and this is I guess not a character decision, but it was a DM decision. I wasn't expecting to have to improv a story at the campfire. That was I
kind of threw you under the bus.
You
like,
definitely did.
Somebody has to tell a story, and then you're like, Tannis, you like stories, and I was like, and then Ryan, you were like, so tell a story, and I was
knew
like,
you could do it.
once upon a time.
I was like, I got nothing.
I just finished editing that part, and I was like, I meant to ask you, I was like, did you improv that, or is that something that you've thought of in the past? I was like, either way, props just for pulling that out of nowhere and entertaining some wonderful, nice kids who now have a future to potentially look up to as a dragon rider.
That was a fun moment because I think I went for because we had talked briefly, I think in like way back in like the second or third episode about the books that Tannis was collecting, and so that was the first thing I thought of was those books. I was like, okay, so this is like Dragon Riders, kind of spiffing off of that, but like the whole like what happens with Dragon Riders was improv. And I remember as I was telling the story, I like got to a point where I was like, okay, I really got to bring this in for a landing. I don't know how I'm going to be able to wrap this up in a way that's narratively satisfying. So I honestly was just sort of like flying by the seat of my pants that whole time. And I'm really glad that it worked out because I think it could have crashed and burned so quickly, which would have been on brand for Tannis, but I'm glad that it didn't for his sake. He needed a win.
For the record, I didn't throw you under the bus like in the way that Zielle would maybe do to Tannis. I actually believe that you would be the one of us who could go with this story. Because I really had nothing. I was like, why is this man pressuring us for this story?
You didn't have to.
Because like I was like the only thing I was thinking about, I was like, well, I murdered my husband. That's a story. Or my fiance.
Well, a long time ago, I murdered my husband.
All right. Well, with that, I have one final question just to send things off for the remainder of Nocturne. This one is from Ghost. What is something that you guys are most looking forward to in the campaign, either with Strahd, Barovia in general, or something along with your character.
I think I kind of touched up on it a little bit earlier, but the one thing that I always love with campaigns, and what I'm loving with this one, like I said before, is just learning about the other people's characters and their backstories. Slowly getting fed more and more these little crumbs to
gather
build
up the crumbs.
the whole. Yeah. That's what I loved about Cast Party. It's just my first campaign ever that I finished, and now this one, it's going to be the second campaign that I finish, and it always makes me excited when somebody else just starts talking and we get into the lore of their character. Like all the arcs that we had in Cast Party, I was always like, oh, I can't wait for this person's arc now. And, oh, who's the next person? Oh my god. And, I love it. I love it.
May's excited for the Masquerade episode.
We're allowed to talk about it?
Is that not your answer?
I mean, it's adjacent to that. I thought you might say that, but I didn't know if we were allowed to talk about that, so I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, fuck it. From the start, they were joking about a ball episode, and I promised it to them. I did not say when. I did not say where.
Not pressuring.
But I did approve a little Masquerade, so that is something to look forward to.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. That is something I'm excited for. The other thing is just, I don't know. Speaking of marriage and romance and like there's things going on, I'm interested to see how all these things play out.
I think I'm excited to see the way that these characters continue to change. I'm obviously a little bit like pretentious about characters and stuff. It's just like my jam. I'm obsessed with it. I love watching people role play characters in real time because there's so much opportunity for like big moments to change characters in really drastic ways. And I think I've seen from this cast the ability to really rock and roll with that. And I'm excited to see how the events of a campaign as intense as the Curse of Strahd has been rumored to be shape a cast of characters that are each so like different. So I guess that's kind of a vague answer. A specific answer, I'm kind of looking forward to boxing the chop with Strahd. I don't know how that's going to go down or if that's going to go down, but I figure I'm going to get a chance to try and put a chain dart in Strahd, and that sounds very wildly exciting to me specifically. So that's my two-part answer there.
I have an answer that I will sign off with. I am very excited for a secret that's going to be revealed next episode. So, everyone stay tuned for episode 11. That'll be dropping next week. I hope you enjoyed our little behind-the-scenes hangout. I hope to do these kind of once every 10 episodes. Until next time, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you guys for an awesome campaign so far. I couldn't have asked for a better cast to run through this spooky adventure with. Bye-bye, everybody. Till next time.
Bye.
Yay, no scary cliffhangers.